we see that Braxis hold out or that Dragonshire. It's been so long since we've seen Fnatic play Dragonshire.
Yeah, true. I'm also excited. Dragonshire is fantastic. I would love to see Dragonshire. And I mean, I'm going to be blunt here. I'm just happy we don't see Sky Temple.
Yeah.
Sky Temple, the earlier, from all the maps that we have, I think at this point, the way that it's figured out, it makes the early game very scripted in the way that teams approach it. So for me, it's always fun to see Dragonshire, I see maybe even Braxis, where you never really know what happens. Oftentimes you see different lanings that are happening there. So I'm pretty happy that the maps that we are probably seeing today are going to differ a little bit, so that's pretty cool.
Well, it looks like our Battleground is about to get picked up here by Team Expert. It was on them to figure out what they wanted to do here with their loss. Did they want first pick, or did they want to pick up the Battleground, which would give Fnatic the choice of the other two? Now, we'll see what map they were going to. It might be the BOE. We've been seeing that as of late. Let's go ahead and check out the Battleground now, as it hasn't been chosen. It's going to be Battlefield of Eternity. And what I like about this Battleground...
You should be ashamed of
totally
yourself.
Cheated there.
Like,
totally cheated.
He glances at the monitor over the lobby. And
It might be BOE.
Might be BOE. I have an inkling here. Oh my god, you are so smart.
Got in there, man. I like this Battleground because I would describe it as a water balloon. There's this tension that's currently there. The moment you pop it, you see the teams explode onto the Immortal and try to explode it.
Okay.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel that water balloon getting bigger and bigger. It's full of water. And eventually, in Europe, someone will break it by getting a kill, finding a lane where someone pulls off, and you see that aggression come out.
I don't know why, but it's becoming really awkward.
I like
I'm
it.
not
I think it's
sure
good.
why, but
I think it's good, man. It works. It works in my brain.
Yeah, just don't overdo it with it. Also, your brain works in very interesting ways sometimes, which is reflected in the Tricks Wacky map.
Yeah, but that's okay. Sometimes you need to have those people floating around. I'm okay with that identity.
What was that one pick that you were talking about? Actually,
Lava Wave Ragnaros?
Oh my god,
yes.
That's stop right now.
That is the recent hot.
Where?
On my games.
So, one thing that we're definitely not going to see in this series is Lava Wave Ragnaros.
No, it's not good on this map. Don't pick it.
I would love to ask you where he is good, but then I know the answer, none.
Do you want it? Braxis Holdout, Tomb of the Spider Queen. Can work on Warhead Junction when you get to level 20 with the double waves. You just completely stop anything from happening, and if you control bosses, you're good to go.
You should talk to Fnatic.
Okay, I'll hit him up, man. Quacknix.
Actually, don't do it now. They are already qualified, so I don't want them to all of a sudden just like put that in there.
Every game they play it?
Yeah. Okay, so I have to try and clean my thoughts for the Lava Wave Ragnaros for a moment. Battlefield. So, Tricks, interesting analogy with the water balloon.
Is accurate. Say it.
I mean, I get it. There's a lot of suspense, and at some point there's a fight, so I see where you're going there. Just don't make it awkward. And I mean, it's true. You want to have immortal pressure. You want to have also a lot of poke, since these situations that triggered that interesting analogy happen all the time on Battlefield. You have that stalemate at some point where both of the teams are looking for a good position. They're looking for an engage potential and maybe even a pick. And then there's a lot of poke happening. And that's exactly that tension that builds up where everybody is looking for that one chance and then pounces on it immediately to get that advantage over the objective.
As we move into it, Team Expert is opening with a thought of an ETC ban, a battleground where any type of CC on your tank is very useful. Again, around the Immortal phase, you want to have the control, but also the engage in case somebody does push in a little bit too far and you want to follow up that stun. Both on the Immortal phase, and also when that Immortal is pushing into your opponent. You want to be able to lock them down if they ever overstep. Yeah,
they are currently thinking about ETC, but also Abathar is another thought for them. I've seen a little bit more Abathar on Battlefield of Eternity. He has been in Europe a very high priority on basically any map out there, and in the end, Team Expert is just simply banning out Abba.
There he is. The worm is gone. Fnatic thinking about their ban. Do they want to get rid of Tassadar possibly? Do they want to remove the offlane soak that could be picked up? Typically, if your opponent has banned out someone that is not HGC or Dahaka, you want to leave them both up so you get your choice if need be.
Definitely good options. If you're looking at the Haka for the side soak, it's most of the level 10 that you're interested in. You're not going to get as much value in the late game normally. But yeah, Global can definitely be a huge deal here. As a first picks, I would say we're going to see definitely heroes that can do a whole lot towards the Immortal. Vala with an arrow build comes to mind. We could see a Malthea later on for the solo lane. We have Greymane, of course, as another potential pick. Li Ming has made a big resurgence in Europe overall, and she is strong on Battlefield of Eternity as well. Fnatic could still target that frontline though. Them banning out ETC would also work. with Expert, you never really know what you get, but ETC is always a solid option for starters. So in this case, Fnatic just simply says, okay, let's get rid of him, make sure that he's not going to be played here. And the Tacita opening for Team Expert. That could lead now into a Tacita Tracer, Tacita Vala, Tacita Lunara. Could even see a Cassia here being played with him. Expert is a team that has also not shied away from using Tacita with a double support with a mage and then putting the shields more so on Sonya as a side soaker. So there's a lot of options for Expert in particular, as they are one of the few teams that, for example, regularly run a Sonya.
Now, a hero they've walked away from, they picked up the last couple of weeks in the HGC with a lot of Vala gameplay, which is great on this battleground, but one has to consider the possibility of Uther Genji. Is it strong enough on this battleground for them to pick up against a possible Tracer Tacita?
I would say you want to have some immortal damage first. You can definitely play Uther Genji, no doubt about it, but then you still need something else to complement the build a little bit and make sure that you're having also immortal pressure itself. Since if you only focus on the team fight and you have no hero that can go for the objective, you are going to have a bit of a rough time. Dignitas actually played Tracer here as well, but I would say against the Tracer, if it comes into play from Team Expert, I would personally prefer a little bit more lockdown. Uther is already great, but the Vala over Genji makes perfect sense to me here. I really like that a lot more. The arrow build is just, it's so strong. Once you're stacked and you have your level 7, I mean, you chunk that thing down in a combo with like, you chunk it down by 30% or 20% with just like one combo.
And it's good too if you're able to hit the Tracer. If the Tracer does get picked up, you really stress them out and make sure that the shields come out from the Tacita right afterwards. And we might actually see that Tracer come in from Nick. Nick is an exceptional Tracer player, and he's done pretty well with her in the past. Now, they don't have to immediately go into it. There are other options. We could have Lunara come out. Lunara, a little bit solid when it comes to poking down the Immortal herself. A little bit slower, a little bit more poison damage. Typically, you'll see a Malthael mixed in with it too as well. But options are up here for Team Expert based on what they want Nick to get.
I would like the Tracer option for them for sure. Yeah. You have Uther against it, so Tracer needs to be careful that she doesn't run into a double stun. But Nick has shown some great play here, and I would really like this. I would say Rhaegar at this point is also pretty solid. Anubarak and Rhaegar taken. I mean, they don't have to go and commit to any kind of damage here just yet. There's Tracer and Lunara. Both are still around. Both are available. So you're going to get one of the two, and then we have other picks as well. As we said before, can go into Cassia, can go into a Sonya composition and just simply focus with Tacita on supporting her. I mean, that was actually how you played this most of the time when you played Tacita. Originally, when these combos were being played, it was all about the melee assassin. So every single time you saw Tacita being picked, the only question was, okay, is that going to be an Illidan? Are we going to be seeing a Sonya here? Then at times you had even Thrall considered. But right now, it's mostly about range damage that we're talking about when double support comes into play. But Expert has, I think just last week, played that old style where you have the two supports focusing on the melee assassin or the bruiser instead.
Fnatic, considering what they want to ban out, do they want to ban the Tracer? Is Cassia something they want to think about banning? They've decided to go ahead and take away Tracer away from Nick. So Team Expert will move into a different hyper carry later on. Now, Team Expert needs to decide what they want to do here. Do they want to ban out someone like Greymane and keep the Immortal DPS a little bit lower for Fnatic, or do they want to think about getting out the Genji that we mentioned earlier? Now it could be a good time to pick him up.
And depending on what's going on, you can't ban Liming, for example. You can ban her.
True.
It's one ban. Then with Vala, what do we normally have? You have either a double support or you're looking at a Vala that is at least protected by an ETC on top of that as well. I would even consider banning Medivh at this point, because Vala, I would still expect Fnatic to either pick a support, the second one, as they are playing with Vala, or a pseudo-support style. For me, that could be maybe Tyrande, but I would say more so Medivh. So both of these heroes could work, but you want to have a little bit more support for Vala than only a single heal Uther, and especially if you don't have an ETC. The reason why ETC, because he is the best peeler for these heroes, so that's one of the things that you can play here. Variant being banned, I think, is interesting since Tracer has already been taken out, so I expected that more as a ban if Tracer is available.
Do they want Illidan then?
Could be, yeah.
That's the next one that pops to me. Tracer, Illidan as the heroes that if I'm playing Variant, that's who I want to see on the opposing side.
Or they're just baiting something. Expert really likes to do that.
Will the bait pay off?
I mean, right now, I simply just want to see what the second support is in that position. Abathar is gone. You don't have ETC with Proc Rock. Also on this map, not all that often played. It's great when you can get the Immortals because you get the double globes, the regeneration globes in the middle, but outside of it, it takes you longer to actually complete the talent. So, and it's all about the peel as well, so there's like two things working in that case. So are we going to see maybe a Tyrande? Are we maybe going to see a Medivh here? Are they playing another support, or do they really just use Uther to keep Valla safe here? For now, it's Arthas and Tyrael, so there's at least shields and sanctification around. And that could be enough. Either you, at this point I wouldn't go for a Medivh anymore, either you pick Tyrande or you just straight up pick another damage dealer.
Well, Team Expert now will pick their damage deal on the left side. I don't know, I'm kind of pulling for an Illidan a little bit. The Arthas makes it a little more difficult. I could see a Malthael working in too here with the Hyper Carry, keep up with the poke. You do pretty solid against Arthas if you're able to poke him down.
I am not really sold on Illidan anymore.
Yeah, with the Arthas and Tyrael?
Yeah, first of all, Arthur, it's Arthas, Tyrael, Uther. It's like too much. Also, you will get the arrow build on Valla, so even if you jump on her, if she gets her 13 and the sustain through that and simply gets a double arrow in against an Illidan that is solo trying to hunt her down, then it's so much pressure. Even with the Nubarak moving in and getting the cocoon, I'm not quite sure if I would be comfortable enough with that pick. So I would love to see something else. Seeing me be, yeah, Sonya as they did last time. We talked about that earlier. They love to play as their Sonya. They can play the style. They have Greymane with it, so I like that a lot more. Illidan would have been something where I don't think they would have seen a lot of success.
So what are you thinking here? Another support?
Again, for me personally, it's either going to be Tyrande or another damage dealer. That's what I could definitely see here. Because Tyrande gives you also damage, he gives you pressure against the Immortal. I was thinking earlier about maybe Medivh being played. I think he's still an option, but then the question is, do you really have the damage output that you want? He can be quite annoying, but Tyrande allows you more kill pressure since you have follow-up stuns. And if you just say, nope, we already have enough, but we are still lacking in the damage department, you could also opt to just simply get a mage in. And can maybe play around the Liming, for example, or any other hero, just trying to put even more pressure out there. So those are the two, either a mage in my opinion, or you go into a Tyrande if you're trying to get a bit more support but kill pressure through stuns and through owl spam.
Let's find out if Tyrande will be the comp here for Fnatic to round it all out. Karazim could also be an option. It's Liming, so damage dealer comes in.
So it's the mage then. Again, I said it early in the draft, Liming has shown in Europe a lot more. She's great. She is a hero that excels on the battleground for the poke. But yeah, so I'm totally happy with Liming here. But again, I could have seen them running also Tyrande, trying to get those kills in, kill pressure, stun into stun, and then of course her working also on the model itself, but at the same time getting the ults in.
Both comps look great for this battleground. Just great control overall for both sides. Fnatic a little more control, especially if they're able to get that wave of force at level 10, but Sonya, if by herself, does great against the Immortal. If we want to have Team Expert focus on just trying to defend their side, they have Greymane too. The race for both sides do go with that water balloon analogy. Both of them can race it down if need be. I was right.
I guess we're going to find out very soon who pops the water balloon first.
Thank you, Calidor. That's why you're a good co-caster. Bring it in here.
Enjoyed while last. This is the last time we're using the analogy.
Yesterday you were a Care Bear. Today you're helping me out on analogies. It's a good weekend. Week 8's been good.
It's a bad weekend for me. Like, I don't know.
I think it's good.
Okay.
Let Calidor know on Twitter if you like his Care Bear side. Let him know. I like it.
I don't have a Care Bear side.
It's good. Yesterday he offered me a gummy worm. It was pretty yummy. We went to the movies. It's pretty solid.
That sounds wrong.
Well, we're getting set up here.
Josh, start that game.
For the second match of Battlefield of Eternity. Looks like our players are getting ready as we start to jump into it. It's really hard to call who wins this one. I think it comes down to skill. I mean, it's Fnatic against Team Expert. I think you can lean a little bit towards Fnatic, but in terms of comps, feels pretty even.
I think Fnatic has a significant edge here because I really like the control that they have. Sanctification is going to be fantastic. Arthas alone is going to be rough to deal with, and they have so many displacement tools or stunts that they can use. Why are you smiling?
I'm just looking at the draft, dude. It's not that awkward. Why do you make things so awkward?
I'm suspicious now. The entire time you're looking
chilling.
Every single time you get that smile, there's something wrong. I was just like, do I have something on my nose?
I'm just listening to you, man.
Okay.
You're talking. We're dropping knowledge on people. They love it. Keep
up.
up.
I don't trust you anymore.
Significant edge for Fnatic. Why?
Yeah, I like, as I said, I like their stuns. They have sanctification, so whenever there's a big engagement happening, I think everything that Expert has to or needs to do has to work around either at Force Wall Isolation if they go down that path, or Cocoon. And I think that Fnatic just has too many tools. The Cocoon can be blasted away by Li Ming. You have at the same time also stuns on Uther. You have sanctification available. And I just think that's going to be too much for Expert to handle in these team fights. Plain as that.
Pretty solid analysis there. I think there is some spot where there can be some choke on the Uther, dropping down the cocktails, being a bit of annoying with Sonya. Tyrael can, of course, save. I don't know. I kind of like what Team Expert has here. I could see them getting a victory if they're able to burst down on Arthas or something.
Okay, yeah.
All right, said and done, just like that.
I'm just trying to get out of this right now. I don't know why.
The players aren't ready. They're
they're
meandering apparently, working on cleaning their keyboards or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. We have a couple of robot voices apparently, and boys, I was actually thinking that Josh is trolling me.
Nah, Josh wouldn't do that to you, man.
Oh yeah, he already did in the past.
He hates listening to this. He's sitting in the truck right now, and he's like, "Please, can we get in the game?"
He's trolling you with a chromie the entire time on that side shot.
He actually did not take fault for that. He said that it was the camera guys. It was all their fault right now.
Do you actually think that he would come in and say like, "Yeah, it's me"?
I don't know. Josh seems like an honest guy, so I feel like I have to listen to him. He's
That's
yet
how
to
they get you.
Is that what it is? Is that what the problem is there? He's freaking out right now. He's like, I'm an honest guy. Just go to a commercial. We're going to go to a commercial. And
No,
we're
I don't want to go to a commercial.
Is honest.
No,
are we going to a commercial?
I want to stay here. Why are we going? No, Josh.
Stitches what shame. Stitches what playtime. Stitches played too rough. No one play with Stitches. But Stitches found Nexus. In Nexus, everyone has to play with Stitches. So much playtime makes Stitches hungry.
Hold your positions. Resist the chill of death!
Yes. Well done, minions. Now, bow before Kel'Thuz's eyes!
Thinking again. Gazlo on Warhead Junction. What are you running away for? Welcome back. It sounds like the robotic voices have been fixed and we're ready to go into game number 2 between Fnatic and Expert. So let's go ahead and hop into BOE as we're going to watch our teams fight back and forth to get a victory.
Starting with our second map, Fnatic, of course, has the lead as we are on Battlefield of Eternity. And over to the left side of the map, we currently have a team expert with Curson on Rhaegar. And seeing Bad Benny at that front line with the Nubarak for the Cocoon. Ethereal Angel will take the solo lane again with Sonya and AD Ardy, of course, as a second support on Tacita. With the main damage dealer being Nick on Greymane.
On the right side, on the red, it's going to be Breeze playing Tyrael. We'll be playing Arthas Schwimpy. On the Ming Quatnik's playing Vala, and Smexy will be our Uther player.
So, Fnatic currently has the lead in the series. Also noteworthy that we actually have more of a Korean touch at this point with the level 1 talent taken from Greymane. Nick heading into Wolfheart.
Increase the cooldown reduction from basic attacks during inner beast from 0.5 to 1 second. Interesting pickup there, looking to get those melees in, working those auto attacks.
I mean, we've seen this actually a lot at the Eastern Clash, where a lot of the teams that play Greymane, especially on the Korean side, were moving more and more into the auto attack build here, instead of going for cocktail. So that's definitely something that we can see how much of an impact that's going to have here. It's a cool approach, especially if you consider how much of a threat Greymane is to the Immortal. And oftentimes you don't quite get as much cocktail value out of the poke in the mid lane that you would normally get on a lane on a 3-lane map. So for the map, good adjustment, liking it. Let's see how it's going for Expert, if they can actually get the value and maybe even the victory over their opponent.
Yeah, I'm curious too to see if 4 and 7 he moves into cocktail anyways, because you can do a bit of a hybrid. It's a bit on the older style. Or if he'll go in and go full Honkano and move into the 4 and 7.
You're absolutely right. You could go for a hybrid. We have seen that in the past. Not really all that common, but it has happened before. And the level 4 talent is going to tell you a lot, going to tell us a lot in that regard. Talent-wise, basically what you would expect when we're looking at Vala, it's of course the arrow build, and that one is just the key build on this map. To an extent where it actually starts to annoy me right now when I play Hero League and I see anyone going to anything else but the arrow build. It's just so powerful that you should never give up on that tool. It's just way too good.
Power hungry for our Li Ming. Been seeing that more and more on this battleground. The laning phase is helpful to chunk down your opponent, and also you can do alright if you're able to go down that lane and grab it when you need to soak. Schwimpy on the right side, poking where he can as Team Expert chases him to the top right corner, and then we have our Greymane and our Sonya moving up to the top of Immortal. They actually kind of get into a weird spot with that stun popping out, and Nick is able to get out, but he takes a beating.
Yeah, he takes quite a bit of damage, and there's the root again. Nice orb follow-up by Schwimpy. And Nick nearly dying. Breeze moved in for the kill. He himself might actually fall as everyone started to turn on him. And the last second heal that we saw from Rhaegar saved Nick there. But great play actually on the side of both teams. Very nice aggressive engage. Good combo with a Howling Blast into Li Ming comp. And then Team Expert with the save and the retreat.
Turn around, putting damage on Fnatic will make them back up. Team Expert gets the first jump onto the Immortal. Wubby comes in to deter them away from the area, but Nick is not biting quite yet as he's trying to focus it down with the help of ADRD. At the same time, Sonya's in the bottom, working on 4, but with Rhaegar getting caught here by Howling Blast, we're going to see a fight break out as Fnatic looks to do damage, but Wubby getting lower and lower on mana. It's going to be forced to pull away. Yeah,
and Ethereal is now ready for the halftime show. Gets the Immortal to a half health, and then we see those collide in the middle. But already body blocks happening. Breeze trying to see if he can maybe force someone down here. Level 4 talents have been taken, and we are currently seeing a good old Eyes in the Dark taken for stealth disengage by Greymane. For Nick, I haven't seen that one in a while.
Interesting pickup there. There is some reveals available between Arthas and Uther, but the ability to jump away from the fight can be good.
It was for a while the talent to be taken in Europe. Back in, I would say, at the end of 2015, that talent has seen a huge boost in popularity, and it was played in basically every single game. Just popped out of nowhere at some point, and then every single Greymane player just picked it up. So it was pretty cool. There was some really nice plays back then that you couldn't make with the stealth, but for quite a long time we haven't really seen it pop up too much just yet. But the entire build that is being used now by Nick is something that's a little bit out of the ordinary for the European realm at least.
The Immortal is grabbed by Fnatic, and they'll push on the top side, breaking down the turrets as much as they can. Experts here for defense. Tyrael on the bottom side opening up the experience for Fnatic, so they'll get a nice little lead here. At 6 to experience to about 5 3/4. Nothing too shabby. Team Expert should be able to handle that.
Yeah, Quatnix finds himself on the auto attacker, riding his flap horse to Sofa. a slight lead for the team. And of course, he's still working on those auto attacks, getting those stacks in so that you have more immortal pressure than later on. They have really nice poke with Li Ming and Vala on the same team. It's usually a bit of a dream there. So now that Li Ming is making her way back into the meta in Europe, she's definitely one of the heroes you want to have on this map in particular.
Seeing the W build here from Bad Benny, he was the first one to showcase this actually here in the HGC.
Yep.
Got picked up a couple of times after Nubrak's nerfs, usually getting to level 7 as well, making yourself a little bit tanky, getting a little bit more movement speed off of that level 4. And this can be a good build if you are a solo tank Nubrak. Sonya here, while she will be called a warrior, is a bit of a bruiser. She's not going to be one that's going to be doing too much in the tanking realm there, so Nubrak picking that up helps his team get in that front line.
Exactly, really good point. We saw some changes to Nubrak a few patches back where he got less tanky because Blizzard was realizing that he just offered way too much to any team composition and could at the same time be a main tank that had also huge utility. So then with those changes, a Shed Exoskeleton was starting to come back into the game a little bit more often when you felt the need to have that sustain at their front line. So this is what Bad Benny is currently doing. The Subterranean Shield at level 7 is still a very nice addition to it once that you start engaging, or even if you're just trying to move away from your opponent. But the level 7 talent is now in play for the second Immortal, and it's a massive power spike for Fnatic. First of all, the repeating arrow is fantastic. Hand of Protection for Uther, another big tool. And Calamity should never be underestimated, especially not when used by someone like Shrimpy.
Also getting Quicksilver Bullets here for our Grey Main, which will give him the ability to increase his attack in human form by 1.1. So able to the outskirts a little bit more, let Sonya and Nubrak do the initial engage, and then when someone gets low enough, he can go for that full fight right afterwards, dropping in with the Dark Flight. And he can increase that range at 13 if he wants to pick that up instead. Fnatic takes their time with the chunking, as they have put the Immortal down a good, what, 4k in health already. Team Expert goes for the answer back by putting some damage on Wubby, but Wubby not really in a spot where he feels like he's in danger quite yet, but he needs to be careful. He's getting low.
Yeah, Quarknix also, stun into Immortal stun nearly, but ADRD still had the dimensional shift available and moved out of harm's way. Now we are seeing Fnatic move towards the top a bit, and again unleashing another combo from Quarknix in particular to chunk that Immortal down even further. And their poke, as we said before, is great for these situations.
It really is. The Vol and Li Ming can interchange out and work on it, and you're seeing constantly the play from Arthas. He goes to a different lane, soaks the experience when he can. Li Ming does the same on the bottom, working on that power hungry she got at level 1, grabbing those regen globes so she can come in, clearing out and keeping up that regen. Another push on the bottom side as we see Team Expert going for a fight, realizing that Arthas and Li Ming were soaking, but they easily come back in and collapse on Bad Benny, putting some pressure on him.
Quarknix in the meantime, arrow after arrow, stack after stack, 40 extra damage for him. Both the teams heading into level 9 any second now, but the halftime show has started and Fnatic is slightly ahead. Expert is doing what they can, especially of course with the Storms just being spammed out, and if Sonya gets close enough they can do a whole lot with Rhaegar as a duo. But here comes the engage as Expert is starting to move in for Smaxy. They see the two heroes at the bot lane, and now they're heavily showing the aggression towards the Immortal.
I like that aggression. Sonya was in a spot where she coming on the back line just slightly too late to actually apply any damage. Nick is able to get out using the stealth he has gotten from his level 4 talent, so he's backing up with Curson helping him. But Fnatic putting a lot of damage on Team Expert allows for them to open up and start applying some damage to the Immortal. It gets lower and lower with ADRD trying to slow it down.
Breeze jumps in again for ADRD in the back line, has to move out for now and walks into the storm. Smexy low, but still alive, and Wubby covers the retreat with another good Howling Blast. But you're absolutely right, the poke has worked thus far, and the Immortal on the side of Team Expert is down to 1,500 hit points, whereas Fnatic still holds on to 7,000, but they're running out of mana, and they're also significantly lower when it comes to the hit point department.
A couple arrows and an orb should be able to finish that Immortal. Team Expert playing aggressive as they can here as they want to keep Fnatic on their side of the map, but this may cost them a life as a Thorough is getting chunked here. Breeze going for the chase. Shwimpy tries to hit here with the missiles, not enough, but Bad Benny will get taken out, and there goes the Sonya.
Sonya and Bad Benny on Nubarak are both down, and that's the Immortal taken by Fnatic again. Level 10 also finally ready for them with Divine Shield taken. Reign of Vengeance has been claimed by Uther, and we're seeing with the Immortal now, of course, the game prepared for pressure play down to the bottom of the map. And this is really where a lot of the protective tools for Fnatic now come online. We have the Sanctification available for Tyrael, which is going to be huge for them, and we see the Divine Shield as well. Legion of Northrend, or for now the Armor of the Dead, has been picked up. And this setup for Fnatic is going to be incredibly difficult for Team Expert to beat, in my opinion.
Team Expert has some decent clear here, with Greymane working in those auto attacks from afar. Can drop down cocktails to harass a little bit on the minion wave, but because he hasn't spec'd into it, the damage is missing. Might actually get stunned too. Nick playing a little bit odd here. Normally he doesn't get caught like that. A Thorough is heading back to the top lane as Fnatic realizes, okay, we got a 4, it's all we really need. Let's make a play for a double 4. They move to the top and start to work on it.
And the Immortal is still at the bot lane, defeated by the towers any second. There's 2 heroes, by the way, 3 actually, that haven't taken their level 10 yet. It seems as if Shrimpy is currently waiting with the disintegrate to see what the choice is on the side of Anubarak. So opting for Wave of Force if Anubarak decides not to go for Cocoon. But if Cocoon is chosen, you want to have disintegrate for Li Ming to make sure that you can burst it down as fast as possible. And also ADRD is still holding his heroic back. So Shrimpy just plain up refusing to take his 10 before Anubarak takes his. So it's basically just a game of who blinks first, and we know that Fnatic, especially with Smexy, is usually pretty good at that.
Good reference.
Thank you.
To those lands. Alright, Fnatic is a nice level ahead of their opponents. They're working on mercenary camps now. Didn't really get that fort in the top left like we expected them to do so, as Team Expert came in with a solid defense. Do find a setup on Breeze though. 4 members coming in. Breeze is able to dash away though with Aldruin, and the Thorough is diving straight into the fort. But Breeze, with ease, walks away from the fight.
And while Tim is dropping the lines and the rhymes, we have up to the top lane of Tasda going straight into the force wall now. So at this point, still 2 heroes not choosing heroic ability, but here comes Disintegrate, has now been chosen by Fnatic's Shrimpy. And if Anubarak now goes for Cocoon and all of this was for naught, then I'm going to be a little bit mad.
May have picked the Disintegrate as he wants to get 13 as soon as it spawns, but we'll see what Anubarak is going to pick up. Garen Swarm is not a bad heroic. It's actually very helpful in fights, gives you a little bit of damage, but mostly it's that heal that's helpful. Yeah,
it's actually something that Fnatic has chosen recently. They had the choice. I've been talking to them about it afterwards. Nice sank, by the way, to save Vala. I've talked to them in one of the games they played afterwards about it, because they chose to go for Wrath of the Berserker and for Locust Swarm instead of heading into Cocoon and Leap, and they said both were discussed by the team, and it requires a bit of a different playstyle. But yeah, it can be a great ult in a good situation. But here's Cocoon being used, and Uther blocked by the force wall. So Tassadar with a nice preparation for the kill against Fnatic. And even the level 13 talent didn't help Fnatic out here. They might be ahead in the Immortal race, but now they're 1 player down.
They are, and they may be another one. As Breeze being chased over here, he's able to get away with Aldruin. With Nick being on the Immortal on the other side, though, Expert just needs to buy time. They're doing so. Ancestral Healing pops out. Bad Bunny controlling well. A Thorough on that front line, keeping just enough damage on their front line. A Force Wall comes out, and Arthas is low, and Wubby gets taken out.
Wubby gets taken out. Quacknix is about to fall as well. He just completed the arrow talent, but that doesn't help him if he dies here. Bad Benny also gets away thanks to the subterranean shield and this burrow charge. So now we have a pretty good spot for Team Expert, especially since during all of this, Greymane was at the Immortal and inflicting damage. So there's the halftime show. Expert is on 13, 3 kills against 2 in their favor, and they're doing well.
Everyone heals up, and we'll be heading back into the fight. Vala not here for another 3 seconds. The Immortal spawns in favor of Fnatic for defense on the right side, so they're going to be happy with that. Team Expert takes the time to work on the Mercs on the left, push out on the bottom, which means that somebody from Fnatic will have to come clear that out, which will allow for them to move in and try to put some damage on that Immortal. Force Wall pops out, keeping Breeze alive as he's able to drop the Aldruin.
Now for Fnatic, this is still okay, because they are currently in a situation where they have completed a lot of their quest talents, and that really helps them. But it allowed Team Expert to get at least a 50-50 on the Immortal damage, more so or less. But now they can of course poke with Tassadar. And this is really one of these things where Fnatic somehow has to push forward with their composition and make sure that they're getting close enough so that Vala and Li Ming can start to chunk down the hit points of Team Expert's Immortal.
If they give up this Immortal, it wouldn't be too bad for them. They're going to keep up with the poke, but remember, at 16, Tyrael will get a lot more control set up here for Fnatic with that holy ground. For now, they're only on 13. Speaking of Tyrael, Force Wall comes out. He'll be focused down. He has to use Sanification just to live, but a Thorough turns around after Sync expires and forces a fight.
That's a pretty big cooldown that was burned, and that was a bit unfortunate for them. They would have loved to use that in a proper fight, but now they're going in and trying to get the kill against Nick. The Ancestral not going through. Down goes Greymane. A 5 versus 4 as Expert makes the play for the Immortal. Try to at least get the objective, but Fnatic defends and now turns it against Kirsten, who's barely able to run away here. Shrimpy low, but he fires away from the back line, gets always harassed by ADRD, but is able to teleport out. Bad Benny low and down as the Ancestral is used to keep Aethera Angel alive.
Amazing attempt there from Expert to turn around and try to kill Quacknix, but the Divine Shield from Smexy stops it all from falling apart for Fnatic. Aethera still in this front line doing what he can, but it isn't quite enough. Quacknix gets hit with a Force Wall. Cleanse does come out. Smexy is just killing it right now in support, by the way. He has done everything he can to keep Quack alive.
Yeah, that was a great job here by him. That was a cool Force Wall, by the way, too. Immediately as the stun circle appears, they're trying to put that to good use. And interestingly enough, if you think about it, Fnatic is still losing out on the Immortal because once they move back, Expert moves in immediately. Even the kill against Arthas, Fnatic gets several kills in the fight, but then just simply can't move into a good position to take the Immortal of Team Expert down, which was also partly because Vala was running out of mana, so she couldn't unleash these combos. And as you could see, Li Ming on Shrimpy, like, he was extremely low, not only in mana, but also when it came to his hit point count. So Team Expert, even after losing 3 heroes in the fight, are now pushing through the top lane with a 50% shield Immortal.
Team up the lockdown, Sanctification will be used. Vol looking for the fight. Quack, though, still getting low. Smexy on the right side will not have Divine Shield for 9 seconds. Quack dances just enough to live, but the Immortal left alone at the top, pushes down, gets a forward, and now keep walls are the target.
Yeah, so far Fnatic is starting to really be pressured by this push. That was great play by Expert, pushing this out far forward and making sure that Fnatic had to defend and move away instead of defending against the Immortal itself. Now the level 16 is also becoming another concern, since we see Expert picking up the extra talent. So it's 16 versus 15 for a little bit longer, and that might result in a keep falling. That Immortal might have lost its shield, but it didn't lose its swing, and it starts chunking away at that keep, and this is going to be the first team of the game.
Yeah, but looks like it. There it goes. The Immortal still has half health, but Team Expert is content with what they've gotten. They've gotten a 4 and a keep and an experience lead of 16.5. So they pull away. But do remember, Fnatic at 16, getting that holy ground will make it much easier for them to force fights for themselves in the middle of the map when BOE is opened up with the Immortals.
I'm also curious to see what Vala is going to pick up. We've seen a lot of Manticore, but you could pick Frost Shot here if you just try and get more control, and that's actually what they do. Frost Shot is taken. That's going to make it a bit easier for Quacknix to help controlling these fights. He misses out on the Rain of Vengeance, though, as they are moving in again. Breeze with the Holy Ground, and they are putting Greymane into a corner. Greymane, the Ancestral, is once again too late, and he dies. Cocoon is bursted away as we see a massive fight. No Sanctification for Tyrell just yet, but they don't even need it. They get the kill against the Nubarak, and they're turning their attention to Sonya, who also falls.
The 16 power spike helping out Fnatic, the Benediction coming online, the multi-shot slow helping, and of course the Holy Ground being enough. Fnatic looks for another kill as Kirsten is caught out. Can he live? No, Disintegrate will take away his life.
Oh, and the team wipe. Tazadar is killed as well. It's a full team wipe, and Fnatic goes through the sidewall towards the keep, and they might just go core. They have Sanctification still up. They can sanct on the core. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it looks like it. 2 seconds before Greymane's up, and Nubric's up in 6. You're right, there is a good 20 seconds before both supports are back on the field. Breeze charging forward. He does have Sanctification, as you mentioned. The armor begins to fall on the core, and we're going to see them group up. There it is. Bad Benny goes for the interrupt. It is not here in time, and now all damage Encore is called, and Fnatic will drop it down to 30, drop it down to 20. They're trying to keep up with it. Aethero's coming in and starting to slay, but it's not enough with the final shot of Tyrael and Wubby and Smexy. They get the win here over Expert.
Tyrael Explosion is an easy 5% on the core, so in this case, they first of all, they had the Sanctification ready. They knew that the Tyrael Explosion itself would already damage the core, so they see the play, they make it, and they finish the game. One team wipe is all that they needed, and they have the 2-0 lead now.
Fnatic just amazing at weathering the storm there, looking like they were losing the keep in the top right corner. Moment they hit 16, they find an opportunity to get a couple of picks and run all the way across the map with additional picks. Grab the keep, grab the victory, and this is why Fnatic continues to do well here in the HGC.
Yep, they have a flawless lead so far, 2-0, could make it a 3-0 even in the next game. Expert played again quite well though, and it just shows the growth of their team. Both of the games they lost, both of the games they looked strong, and they always made Fnatic work for it. So Fnatic at this point, they just identify an opportunity, they take it immediately, and their composition just worked. If Breeze had Sanctification ready in the last fight, he would have used it there. He would have used it in that battle, but it was still on cooldown. And without Sanctification, they cannot make that play. But with Sanctification, they immediately just communicated, guys, we have what we need. Let's drop the core. Let's end it right here before we head into another Immortal battle.
Well, another win here for Fnatic. Gets them up to 2-0. Can they close it with a 3-0? We'll find out after this commercial break. We'll be right back. This is the HGC.